This is Douglas Block. Welcome to your Depression Recovery channel, where each week we talk about practical tools and coping strategies for healing from depression and anxiety. It's Saturday. It's about a little late. It's about 11:11 Pacific time. And here I am just to answer your questions and talk about stuff. I didn't really announce this ahead of time, so I don't know who's going to be tuning in, but I'll be here for at least a half hour just in case anybody catches me. So I wanted to start out by talking about a topic that I just did on just a video I just recently released called "The Fear Behind All Fears and How to Overcome It." And what I talk about here is how fear is such a basic part of human existence. And, you know, hi, Mariette, nice to hear from you. Nice to see you. Faye, good evening, Douglas. What time is it where you are? Must be later. Can I go for homeopathic medicine to treat OCD anxiety, says Neil. Yeah, I mean, homeopathic medicine's been on for a long time. You have nothing to lose by trying it. No joke yet. I haven't actually thought of a joke yet, but I'll come in with one. Well, here's a quick one. Why did the banker quit his job? He lost interest. All right, how's that little pun? So yeah, I studied homeopathic medicine when I was in naturopathic school, and it is used in India, especially in England, to treat a variety of disorders. So you can try it for OCD. It's not going to hurt you. Hey, Faye, I'm glad you liked it. By the way, why was the neurosurgeon? Excuse me. Let's start this again. Why was the scarecrow a successful neurosurgeon? Well, I don't know. He didn't have a brain, so that couldn't help. So why was the scarecrow a successful neurosurgeon? He was outstanding in his field. All right. So I hope I answered your question about homeopathic remedies in treating OCD. Try it out. If it doesn't work, there's a very good medication called Luvox, Luvox. You can talk to your psychiatrist or nurse prescriber about it. It can be very, very, very helpful, and it's helped a lot of my clients. So getting back to the idea of fear, you know, when we were in the Serengeti on the plains, when human beings were starting to evolve, there was a lot of fear. What were we afraid of? We were afraid of being eaten by big bad animals like saber-toothed tigers and wolves and bears and, you know, and actually giant hyenas. So there was good reason to be afraid. But now in modern society, we don't have these, especially in the developed world. We don't have these external threats. And yet a lot of people are afraid of a lot of things like fear of getting old or getting sick or losing love or not knowing what to do or having financial issues. But I discovered many years ago, after listening to a really cool lecture by a guy at the Esalen Institute down in California, Personal Growth Center, he said that all fears can be reduced to one fear only, and that is the fear of not being able to cope. I discussed this in my video, the fear behind fears and how to overcome it. But when you really think about it, if you knew that you could cope with whatever came your way, whether it's a loss of a love or health challenge or financial challenge or anything else, you would not be quite so afraid. So what I tell my clients who have a lot of worry and catastrophize about the future is that one affirmation to use is, I can handle whatever comes my way, or I will cope with whatever comes my way, or I'll handle it. And that seems to give people a lot of reassurance that whatever occurs, they will be okay. If you have any questions about mental health recovery, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, a bit stressed out because of a kidney infection. When I get sick, it affects my depression. I'm reading journal entries from a couple of days ago, and they mean nothing today. Well, you know, physical illness can definitely exacerbate mental illness. Unfortunately, I had a therapist, an old therapist, who was very depressed and then developed something called fibromyalgia. And unfortunately, it just worsened the depression tremendously. She barely got out of it. So, yeah, anytime you're physically sick and you have a predisposition towards depression. I have a friend of mine who lost her husband due to cancer, and for the first 5 or 6 years, every time the winter in Oregon came around, especially right around her birthday in March, she would get some sort of respiratory infection, and she would suddenly get really depressed, like, I'm never going to get better. This is always going to be this way. The sense of hopelessness was exacerbated by the physical illness. So, yes, having a kidney infection can definitely, create your depression. Maria says, I'm currently taking antidepressants. It makes me cravings have cravings, put on weight, 10 pounds a month, and I still have chronic fatigue. I need something else. Any suggestions? Yeah, I would definitely get off that medication for sure, and try something else that doesn't cause hunger and weight gain. Eventually, you might try something alternative like 5-HTP. Whenever I try to sleep at night, there are many repetitive thoughts that cause anxiety. What should I do? That's an excellent question. It's called ruminating. One, you can take a sleep medication. I use amitriptyline or Elavil. It's an antidepressant, an old one. Take 10, 25 milligrams. It really helps you, knocks you out. Otherwise, what I do is I like to count sheep. I go from, well, I can't do 100 here on the screen, but I go from 100 to 1 backwards. And I imagine the sheep, my favorite beach in Manzanita, Oregon, there's a stream coming out of the hills going to the water, into the ocean. And I imagine the sheep coming up to the stream and jumping it over it, and then going on their way on a path to a beautiful pasture. So I go 100, okay, 99. So 99 sheep are left over here, and one is jumped over. 98 sheep left, 97 sheep left, 96. So I visualize these sheep jumping over the stream and moving towards a beautiful pasture. By the time I get to 75, I'm out. So refocus your mind away from the repetitive thoughts into something like this that puts you in a hypnotic trance. And also there's medication. Also, I find progressive muscle relaxation very helpful. Tense and release your muscles on a kind of from the feet all the way up to the head. Okay, what are the questions that we have here that they're coming in? What is your opinion of mindfulness meditation? Recently, you downloaded an application called Headspace. Headspace is really famous. Yeah, it's great. There's so many studies now about meditation and depression and anxiety. It's a great tool, and Headspace is a great app, so keep it up. Okay, so what else is going on here? Let's see what other questions we've got. If I can only tap this screen, they can come. Come on, guys. Where are those questions? There we are. Thank you, Doug. I'll try tonight. Okay, yeah. Can't focus on my study. I'm doing computer engineering. Please help me. Well, is the lack of focus on your studies because of the depression? If so, get some treatment. Some people have ADHD or ADD, attention disorder. Can't focus. They take something called Adderall, which is a really interesting medication for people with focusing problems. It's a stimulant. It can be very useful. My goddaughter used it to go through undergraduate school with a 4.0 average. So again, these are psychiatric medications, Adderall, antidepressant. You need to see a nurse practitioner or psychiatrist to find out about them. But yes, lack of focus and lack of concentration can be a symptom of depression or ADD. So good luck on that. What else do you have here? We have any natural antidepressants to take without side effects. Yeah, exercise is the best. Also fish oil. Also something called 5-HTP. I have a chapter. If you go to healingfromdepression.com and look, you'll see under one of the tabs, menu tabs, there's a page called Natural Alternatives to Prozac. But exercise and fish oil are two antidepressants that do not produce side effects, and there are others also. Magnesium, of course, will relax you. That's more anti-anxiety. Nice to see you again. Thanks for all you do. Yes, thank you, Mr. B. Any advice on anxiety and OCD health? Anxiety, I've always scared that I would have a heart attack. I feel so drained. That is so common. My godson's sister has that, actually. I know a lot of people in my group have health anxiety. That's a real tough one because you imagine it's an anxiety disorder. So you have to tell yourself, like what I was saying about fear, I can cope with it. I can handle it. And having the heart attack, imagining you're having cancer is really an irrational thought. So whatever you can do to counter that, but it can be really draining. Again, a medication called Luvox can be very helpful. I would go to a cognitive behavioral therapist and find out how you can turn your mind off when you start to have those catastrophic thoughts about the future, especially OCD, health anxiety. I mean, imagining something really bad is going to happen to you in terms of your illness. Patty says antidepressants sent me into a depression, only recovering after 3-year-long depression, don't know what to take, meds. Any suggestions? Well, you might try a different kind of antidepressant. What's my opinion of taking low dose of Klonopin? 0.5 milligrams a day is fine. I've done it for years when I've been anxious. I don't do it anymore. Again, talk to your psychiatrist or doctor about it. But I found that low doses of Klonopin are okay if it's 0.5 milligrams or less, and you're not supposed to do them forever. Anyway, the person who had the bad experience on antidepressants, I try another one, or I try what I talk about in my book, Healing from Depression: exercise, meditation, diet, good sleep, prayer, social support. And there are some herbs like St. John's wort, which is used a lot in Germany. There's fish oil. These things are substances that can be very helpful. I'd like someone to let me know if they've ever had any, benefit with 5-HTP or St. John's wort or something called SAMe. Tried them all, made me worse, says Patty. I mean, you're saying trying all those alternative herbs and vitamins and stuff like that. Some people take amino acids because antidepressants are made from amino acids. Patty, have you ever tried amino acid therapy? A couple of my clients are doing that. But it's tough, when antidepressants don't work and you have to try other things. Have you ever tried Prestique? What's the best supplement for mental health? 5-HTP, maybe throw up. I haven't tried Prestique, but it's an antidepressant. It helps some people, doesn't help others, just like everything else. So it's all try and error. Best supplements for mental health, 5-HTP, maybe throw up, says Haley. Don't try it again. Try SAMe, SAMe. Do you much about lamotrigine? Yes, I'm on it. It's Lamictal. It's a good medication. It's for mood increase and for bipolar disorder. So I think, again, it's all how it affects you, but Lamictal has been very well studied, and I can hardly take anything. And I'm not Doug, LOL. Yeah, I said Haley, didn't I? Anyway, Haley, it's a good medication, Lamictal. That's mostly Haley. Okay. Haley says, have you ever tried Prestique? Yeah, no, I haven't. And I would try fish oil, and I would try SAMe under the direction of a naturopath or a nutritionally oriented medical doctor. It's all about tinkering. The whole thing is about tinkering. You got to kind of fiddle around until you find something that works. Now, exercise is always a go-to. Oh, you're not taking 5-THC. No, you're not going to take it again, Haley. Absolutely. So, but there are other things you can try. But you got to tinker. You got to try. You got to. I mean, I've been dealing with this for half a century, right? So you got to kind of try things out, and it's all trial and error. And you stumble. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does work. I'll say one thing that is almost always a go-to help, and that's social support. Family, friends, therapists, psychiatrists, support groups like the ones I run. Being around people and connecting with people is a natural antidepressant for most, except people who have social anxiety disorder. Okay, but then you can even get over that by taking it in small groups. Will you be talking to Big No No at all? Yes, I talk with him about once or twice a week. He's a friend of mine. He was in my depression support group. He created his own channel. It's excellent, and we work in collaboration. I've interviewed Noah on my channel. He's interviewed me on his channel. Any advice on dealing with frustration? Take a deep breath, and depends on what's frustrating you. Try to basically find out the source of your frustration, and deal with it or cope with it. But meditation and deep breathing could always help with frustration or anger. And take a deep breath. It's never really as bad as you think it is. But that's something. Exercise will let off steam. There's lots of psychotherapeutic things you can do about frustration. So, I tell you, having a good therapist is worth its weight in gold. Hi, Douglas. Great to see you. Still dipping in and out of your book. Find your video so helpful. Peace from Scotland. Thank you. Oh, Define. Yes, I know you. I know a great stress relief therapy, says Noah. Well, let us know if you know it. But so frustration is something that can be dealt with in many, many different ways, depending on what the source of frustration is. So a good therapist is certainly worth his or her. Can I go, Neil says, can I go for homeopathic medicine for anxiety, depression while I get results? Well, again, homeopathic medicine is just like antidepressants. It works for some and not for others. So find a good homeopath, ideally someone who's studied in India or has done it a long time. It's very tricky. It's very hard to practice homeopathic medicine. It's very complex. Your initial interview can take 2 or 3 or 4 hours, but try it out. Hello, Dan from the UK. Thanks for the videos. You're more than welcome. There's a question I wanted to get to here. Don't feel like going anywhere. I've been confined in my apartment for 3 weeks. Wow, Mary, I thought you have obviously agoraphobia. Well, are you seeing a therapist? Or are you seeing a psychiatrist? You have obviously some sort of anxiety that makes it difficult for you to go out and about. I had a gal I worked with who was like that. She eventually took something called Klonopin, which is an anti-anxiety drug, in very low doses. She calmed her down enough that she got out of the house, and she did something called exposure therapy. She gradually got into the world step by step, and eventually she came out of it. But yeah, not being able to leave the house, that is a major bummer. Close your eyes and picture an infinite hallway, then enter the rooms and explore. The deeper you go, the further into your own mind you go. It's a great way with dealing with problems. Okay, you visualize a hallway, you enter the rooms and explore. The deeper you go into your own mind, the better. Well, I'm glad that works for you. There are therapy apps, says Danielle. The one I used was Talkspace. My doctor only goes for antidepressants. Well, find someone else if you think you know, get a second opinion. I like that meditation about going in the infinite hallway. I'm glad it works for you. I'll try it. It's kind of like counting sheep. It's a visualization, but good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I don't know why your doctor, if you have an anxiety disorder, doesn't give you something else like a mild dose of a benzodiazepine, or tell your doctor to give you something called Seroquel. It's not addictive like benzos are, and it helps a lot of people's anxiety. So does Zyprexa. These are atypical antipsychotics. So you can try something else for the anxiety that will not have the potential for dependence, like, you know, Valium or Ativan or Klonopin, all the benzodiazepines. They have the ability to make you dependent upon them, which of course is not a good thing in the long term. Hey, you know, the sun is coming out. We just entered the fall in Oregon, and I'm getting ready. I'm getting motivated to go on my bike. I haven't been able to go the last 2 days. It's been raining. I also know more physical form of therapy that's cheap and easy to do, says Noah. Well, yeah, what besides exercise? Yoga is very cheap and easy to do. Exercise, Noah, if you've got that physical therapy you want to share with the viewers, go ahead and you know, share it. That would be great. So I have a long joke I'll tell. I don't know. I have a lot of friends who go on these 1 and 3 year retreats. Okay, I think no one means sex. Well, there you have it. Haley says I'm a psychologically dependent on Ativan. Makes me upset. Been on since 2015. 5 milligrams. Well, that's a high dose of Ativan. Wow. Doc thinks Klonopin low dose would be better. Yeah, I would try to basically. Oh, is it point? I can't tell if you're on 0.5 or 5 milligrams of Ativan. Let me know. Okay, well, yeah, if you're on 5 milligrams of Ativan, that's way too much. 0.5 is okay, but if you want to try Klonopin, 0.5 milligrams, okay, well, that's a low dose. If your doctor suggests Klonopin, nothing to lose. Those are both very low doses. Noah says put some lubricant or oil on your head, your forehead, and just lie down and relax. That's what people from India do. So, you know, cool. Try it out. See what happens. So I have some people I know who go on these long-term 1 or 3 year retreats of science. They're Buddhists. One of them went to a Zen monastery, and the rule was that you had to go to a 10 years of silent retreat before you get to talk to the abbot. How did you recover, Douglas? I'm mentally and physically exhausted. Haley, well, I recovered the last time I did electroconvulsive therapy, or ECT, in January of 2016. Very controversial. You induce a grand mal seizure in the brain. Epileptic seizure lasts about 30 to 60 seconds. You do it about 9 to 12 times over the course of 3 weeks, and somehow it reboots the brain. Don't ask me how. Nobody knows how. They've been doing it since the 30s, and my mother did it 5 times for 5 different episodes, got better all 5 times. I saw a couple of people from my group who tried suicide. They got better. Matter of fact, I've had like 100% success rate, not from me, not for me only, but from watching people in my support groups and my mother get it. It's very effective. The statistics are 80 to 90% effective. Well, that's better than antidepressants, which are only 40 to 50% effective. Now, ECT does cause some memory loss, but only for events at the time of the treatment. Like, I don't remember everybody who visited me at the hospital. I was told I had a lot of visitors, but my memory since then and before then remains excellent. So um, yeah, I'm not quite sure why I brought up ECT, but oh yeah, you asked me how I recovered. Well, that's how I recovered. I found ECT to be traumatizing, didn't help me, says Define. Everyone's different. Yep. Thank you. That just goes to show nothing works for everybody all the time. I'm sorry it was traumatizing. Edna says, I have no support group. There's not an area I think would be a big help. Is it possible to start one? Absolutely. Go to meetup.com. That's what I did. meetup.com and start your own group. Also call the National Alliance for Mental Illness, 1-800-950-NAMI. N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, I as in India, 1-800-950-NAMI, or go to NAMI.org and you will find a way to find support groups in your state and hopefully near your city. Support groups are critical. They're the major thing that I do aside from making these videos. I've dedicated the rest of my life to running these groups because it is so powerful when people come together, you know, horizontally as peers and share and connect and support each other. We have two people in the group who are both musicians. One's a pianist and one's a horn player. Now they get together and they do duets all the time. And guess what? They're both in recovery from alcoholism, and it keeps them away from drinking. Whenever I try to go benzo support groups in Houston, Whitney Houston comes up. Yeah, she died of using benzo as well. Try different keywords. Houston's a huge place. In the Menninger Clinic. Why don't you call the Menninger Clinic in Houston? They'll tell you what you can do. Haley says major depressive disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. Yep. I have the same two diagnoses. Yeah, my family couldn't understand it, so I had to find people who could. Mary says my suicidal thoughts ended with Zoloft. I don't want to take meds anymore. I put on weight, don't have the energy at all. It hasn't helped that well. I don't know that Zoloft causes you to gain weight, but different medications affect different things. See if you can wean off the Zoloft and try something else. So Noah has another interesting form of therapy. Well, there you have it. Very original. So this guy goes and he meditates for 10 years in silence. He comes to the abbot and the abbot says, what have you got to say after 10 years of meditation? I'll answer any of your questions. He says, bed hard. The abbot says, okay, great. Go back and meditate for another 10 years in silence. He does. After 10 years, he gets to see the abbot again, a privilege that very few people have. The abbot says, what do you have to say now? The guy says, food cold. Abbott says, okay, you're doing quite well. Why don't you go do another 10 years? Now, he started when he was 18. By the third round of 10 years, he was 48. He comes back to the abbot and says, you know what? I think I'm going to leave this place. The abbot says, good riddance. You've done nothing but complain ever since you got here. There's the joke. Yeah, he said 4 words, nothing but complain, right? 4 words in 30 years. Someone in my men's group told me that. Haley says, I take Zoloft 3 times. Sent me to a huge panic end of the ER. This is why I'm afraid to take another med, but I have to try something else. Well, yes, Noah, Zoloft did the same thing to me and affects her. You may be allergic to the SSRIs, but there are other things like I've tried Wellbutrin. There's Remeron. There's other medications not in that class. There's also the tricyclic antidepressants like nortriptyline. Go to a really good psychopharmacologist. There are other things besides Zoloft you can take and other antidepressants that are not in that group. That could be very helpful. So again, it's all trial and error. And it's tough. Depression is a really tough thing to overcome. How do you break through anxiety and depression through exercise when even taking a shower feels like a task? Yeah, that's tough. It probably would be good to have a buddy come over and go to the gym with you or take a walk. I don't know. Haley says I was fine on Paxil. Well, there you have it. Different people have different reactions. So, yeah, I would say that find someone to meet up with you, to at least take a walk with you, or maybe to go to the gym and work out with you when you're paralyzed and everything is hard and you can't get out and do exercise or go to the gym. It's time to call in the troops. I remember we had a depression support group with 3 retired men. One of them was severely depressed. The other 2 became his friends. So every Saturday morning at 9 a.m., they would roust him out of bed, take him up to Columbia Gorge here in Oregon, and get him a hike up Angel's Rest. Thank you, Karen, for that comment. And they just basically just put him in the car. And by the time he got to the top of Angel Rest, 2,500 feet above sea level, he felt a lot better. So yeah, sometimes it just takes some extra support to kind of give you a boot. Neil says, please name some safe SSRIs for mood and low anxiety. Guess what? I can't because, hey, Karen from Liverpool, thanks for your feedback. So anyway, Neil, no, it's one man's meat's another man poisoning. So some people I have a woman who took Prozac. It stopped her, self-harm thoughts in their track. Another person took it and it sent a bit of agitation. Well, what are you going to say, right? The main thing I talk about, I have an upcoming video about how to reduce the side effects of medication. I'll give you a hint. You take the pill and you cut it in halves and quarters and start at 1/4 the lowest dose and build up to it. That will really reduce greatly, almost 100%, your risk of side effects. So that's what you have to do. Does exercise help to have more energy? Or would it drain? Yeah, it'd be more, says Mariette. No, people always feel more energy after the exercise, but not everybody, right? But yeah, it certainly makes you feel a lot calmer and a lot more well. Try it out. Okay. Evelyn says, I'm from Germany. I'm 52. I've had 9 major depressives since I've been 18, different suicide attempts 3 years ago. I spent 7 months in a hospital. Since that, I'm taking SAROTEN. I'm not quite sure what that is, but boy, and lithium. Well, lithium, it can be good for stabilizing the moods. I don't know what SAROTHEN is. You might want to tell me. But Evelyn, I really wish you the best. I've gone through 5 different major depressions at 68, 16. Since you've been 16, you've been going through 9. Wow, you've even beaten me. Noah says, nope, I'm not really going to demonstrate your first suggestion. Amitriptyline, says Evelyn. Well, what about that? I'm not quite sure what you meant by that, but that's a good medication. I take it for sleep. Yeah, I can't emphasize enough that there is no one medication. I mean, there's one medication that everybody has the same reaction, and that's Klonopin. It makes everybody relaxed. What meds help you? I just said it, Klonopin. When I was having out of control anxiety disorders in 96, 97, I would take a 0.5 milligram. It would just chill me out. Have I ever heard of Celexa? Have I ever heard of it? My best friend's on Celexa. So yeah, it helps her with anxiety big time and depression. Hallie says, I know everybody is different. Absolutely. So yes, Alexa is one of the SSRIs, along with Prozac and Paxil and Zoloft and Lexapro and Effexor. Those 5 are usually the big go-to guns that psychiatrists use. But there are other ones that are not as, don't activate people as much, like Remeron and Wellbutrin and amitriptyline. Is there a better era to be depressed than in the past? No, this is the best time to be depressed. In the old days, they would basically, try to rid you of evil spirits or throw you in cold water or basically chain you somewhere. Noah says, you must go. Well, thanks for your interesting ideas. Haley says, Ativan makes me chill out, but it makes me feel drunk. Absolutely. I feel drunkish and dizzy even when not anything, but found I metabolize Ativan slowly. Well, don't take a half, take a quarter. Actually, you can take a 0.5 milligram and you can do it to 4 points. Take 1.25 milligrams of Ativan by scoring a half into 4 different parts. Try that. Yeah, Klonopin did the same thing. It made me drowsy and woozy, but better than pacing up and down, hitting myself in the head like that any day of the week. But yeah, it's hard to function on benzos. They just kind of chill you out, but they're not a long-term solution. Is a good goal to want to get off events nationally and work on your depression, or is that realistic? Well, I had the same discussion with my counselor, and I have a video coming out called Will These Episodes Ever End? Yes, anxiety can make you feel like you're off balance, Haley. But yeah, no, my nurse practitioner after 4 depressive episodes says you're going to stand your Wellbutrin long term. Just get used to it. So I guess I've made that decision, but I've seen many people get off medication slowly. You can try it. I don't think it's anything to lose, but do it very slowly. Can I talk about anxiety symptoms that last long after anxiety is present? I've had tense stomach, anxious stomach for no reason for about a year after my major panic attack, says Artie. Yeah, I don't know. You could try basically some deep breathing and some relaxation. You still, the tenseness in the stomach could be caused by, anxiety, or it could be caused by something organic. You could have something called gastroenteritis. You should definitely see a gastroenterologist, a medical specialist, to see and rule out any organic causes of your stomach tension. Otherwise, it just might be stress. I can't recommend meditation enough. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so do a lot of doctors. I have ME, so I can't exercise much. I don't know what ME is, but I can do 2 hours of meditation a day. It really gives me moments closer to being symptom free. So yeah, no, I have a woman who was traumatized with severe abuse as a kid, and the only thing that keeps her alive is meditating 2 hours a day. Mario says, I'm glad I found you. Hey, subscribe to the channel, Mariette. There's also something called Super Chat, I think, on this video. If you want to make a small donation to the channel, that would be appreciated. Haley says, I'm having physical issues that don't come from mental. It makes me depressed. I may have fibromyalgia, but my doc has not done a test. Well, yeah, there isn't a test really. Well, go look up how to treat fibromyalgia. It's a tricky thing. I don't know much about it. I just know people have suffered from it. Can I take, says Neil, omega-3 multivitamins, whey protein, if I take antidepressants? Yes. Talk to your doctor, but I take all of those things. I take protein powder, omega-3 and multivitamins, and I'm on an antidepressant. So, Haley, you've subscribed to the channel. Thanks. You'll be getting notifications. Every Monday at about 7 a.m. Pacific time, I post a new video. So there's a good one coming up on Monday on something called dysthymia or low-grade depression. Puerto Rico, says Nancy Vega. Of course. Unable to contact my family members. I'm distraught. Suggestions, please. Just try doing some deep breaths and saying prayers to them. Go into a state of meditation and send them light and love and energy, and know that they can feel it, because thought is non-local. You can know someone in England and think about them, and they'll feel it. So send prayers to your relatives in Puerto Rico, and do what you can to keep being in touch with them. There's a prayer list you should put them on. Says Cymbalta is for something, have to change lifestyle. I'm not quite sure what that comment was, Haley. Yeah, so 1-800-669-7729 is called Silent Unity. If you call in the States, they're open 24 hours a day. They'll put your family in Puerto Rico on a prayer list and pray for them for 30 days. That's 1-800-669-7729. If you somehow didn't get that, put a comment in the comments section when this video is posted in about an hour, and I will write it down for you. But I use Silent Unity all the time to pray for loved ones. I have a couple of friends right now, one who's dying, unfortunately, of cancer, another one who's severely depressed, and I always use Silent Unity to help them. Well, we have about 13 minutes left. I'm definitely going to go on a bike ride because we're going to have showers in about an hour and a half. What is the term, says David, for avoiding family and friends because you feel you're inadequate and sad and don't want to bother them with dealing with depression? That is definitely a symptom of depression called low self-esteem and feelings of worthlessness. You need to overcome that by saying, I deserve healing. I'm a good person. I'm a strong person dealing with a very tough, abnormal condition called depression. I'm worthy of support. I deserve support. I'm a good person. Say things like that to yourself and reach out. People are always happy to help. And I would again work with a psychologist about those thoughts and feelings, but that's definitely coming from depression. Dorothy, could you please like my previous mission? Give me any suggestions. Love your live chats. Dorothy, where is that previous message? I'm kind of scrolling down, and why don't you repeat it? Because I can't quite find it. Because there have been so many things that have come in. So yeah, why don't you repeat the message, Dorothy? That would be great. Thoughts on hydroxyzine for anxiety? Yeah, non-addictive, long-term. Yep. A lot of my clients use hydroxyzine. So check it out. Let me know how it goes. Thank you. Nancy says, we love you. Well, Nancy, you should subscribe to the channel. I hope you do. Evelyn, all my life I went off and on antidepressants. I don't want to accept my illness. Last year, as I've been on medication, put on 20 kilos, but I'm able to live my life. Yeah. Well, I'd rather be happy and overweight than depressed and thin. And you need to accept your depression. Why wouldn't you? I mean, people accept that they have asthma, that they have diabetes, that they have, maybe a heart condition they were born with. Depression is a medical condition. It's a brain disorder. So there's no shame in accepting it. You've got it. My mother had it. My brother has it now. My father had it while he was alive. I mean, it runs in families like everything else. So uh, I accept that I have depression. I know there's no cure for it. What I do is I manage it one day at a time, like my friends in AA. And I use the tools I teach here and what I read from other sources. And I'm finally okay with it. I don't mind telling people. There's an old James Brown, the great, soul singer. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. We should say it loud, I'm depressed and I'm proud. Let's all do that together, right? Say it loud, I'm depressed and I'm proud. Isn't that great? A little bit of humor, but seriously, there is nothing to be ashamed of if you have depression. Kobe says, I've had 20 medicines, ketamine infusions, TMS, finally a month ago on Nardil. It started working for 2 weeks and then stopped, and now I'm back to feeling awful. I don't know what to do. I'm really sorry that it stopped after 2 weeks. Why don't you try Parnate, Parnat? It's like Nardil. It's in the same class of MAO inhibitors. Definitely talk to your doctor about that. What supplements are the best for mental health? Fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids, which you can get in flax seeds and walnuts. Definitely take flax seeds and walnuts for those omega-3s. Also, vitamin B complex is excellent. And yeah, I have sardines every now and then because of the rich source of omega-3s. I'm not just ashamed, says Haley. I'm just tired and fed up. Well, yeah, I'm tired after 50 years. What can I tell you, Um, hopefully you'll find little bits of joy during the day for yourself and find ways to feel a little bit better some of the time. And again, see if you can find some people who understand. Go find a support group or create one on meetup.com. It's much nicer when you suffer with other people. They say misery loves company. Well, get a couple of depressed people together and what do you get? More depression? No, you don't. You get people who are trying to support each other and help each other. I wish you could all come to Portland, Oregon, and come to my depression support group. I guarantee you within 4 weeks, you'll be feeling a lot better. Can you stand the same dose of an antidepressant forever? Will it lose effect over time? Sometimes it does, Brandon. Sometimes it doesn't. My accountant and good friend's been on 10 milligrams of Paxil for the last 15 years. It keeps working for him. What can I tell you? When he misses a dose, he feels it. So, yeah, another group member's been on 20 milligrams of Prozac for about a year and a half. So, sometimes there's something called Prozac poop out. I did a video on that and it stops working. Sometimes it doesn't. I can't emphasize enough how different people are. These drugs are just in their early stages of development. We need more genetic testing and advances in genetics. Otherwise, it's a crapshoot. And you just have to do trial and error, unfortunately. Let me see. Dorothy says, I'm dealing with DIL who ignores me and my adult son is becoming more distant. I'm only allowed to see my grandchildren at their home because they use my depression and anxiety against me. I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what DIL is, but yeah, they should be using your depression against you. Well, keep working on yourself and getting better and keep telling them, it's not your fault. Alex says, my symptoms keep me even focusing on the class. Psychiatrist wants to change meds, but I said I get anxious. Well, start the meds by dividing them in quarters and go really, really slow, and it may take away that anxiety effect. Also, you can take Klonopin in the beginning, and oftentimes the anxiety will go away. What's the difference between bipolar depression and chronic depression? Says David, bipolar or manic depression, you go up and you go down, you go up and you go down. Chronic depression, you just go down and then you come up to baseline. So there's no highs or no manias. So that's the difference. Can you repeat the stomach doctor? Oh, it's called a gastroenterologist. GASTROENTEROLOGIST. Look up stomach doctor on the internet. They'll tell you, gastroenterologist. They're medical doctors who specialize in stomach disorders. Haley, I drove my family crazy with it. I feel guilty, but we didn't choose mental illness. Of course we didn't choose it. Just like anybody doesn't choose diabetes or cancer. So sometimes families don't understand. You need to find friends, a good therapist worth his or her weight in gold. Find someone you trust and can talk to and give you support. That is so critical. Salam says, I hate this disease so much. I'm off meds and ECT and have been in and out of mental health centers a few times. Every day feels like a fight. Yeah. Have you tried ECT? I'm not quite sure. So I can't, SALYM. I don't know if you tried ECT once, but every day is a fight, and we have to fight the good fight, and we have to sometimes live an hour at a time or a minute at a time. I have a video I'd like you to watch called Bearing the Unbearable Pain. Go to my channel and search for it. Salem is how you pronounce your. Okay, thank you for the pronunciation, Salem. Yeah, go to my channel and find something called Bearing the Unbearable Pain. Salem says, I'm on ECT twice a week. How many sessions have you had? I was on it for 3 times a week for 3 weeks, and that's what got me better. So maybe you're still in the middle of it. What country are you in, and where are you taking the ECT? I'd be curious to know. Yeah. How do you find a local support group? Well, David says, if you're in Portland, you call me. If you don't, you go to 2 websites. Oh, you're in Idaho, huh? Support groups. Go to the Depression and Bipolar Support Alliance, and go to National Alliance of Mental Illness. If you put in the comment section, David, if you do a comment here once the video is posted and ask how I find support groups, I will go ahead and give you links to that. Otherwise, you can email me. I have a little sign here, douglasbloch@gmail.com. Right there, douglasbloch@gmail.com. Send me an email, and I will definitely send you some links about national organizations of contact that might have support groups in your area. Haley says, you feel like giving up, but then you want to fight, then you want to give up again. Yeah, it's exhausting, isn't it? This is why you've got to have support. You've got to have people, like a group of people to turn to, or your therapist, or your friend, or a family member, or somebody when you're feeling low to give you encouragement. You can't fight this battle alone. I can't stress it enough. People who try to fight the battle alone do not do well. What are the best supplements for sleep? Says Neil. Well, amitriptyline is not a supplement. It's an antidepressant, but that's what I use. Calcium and magnesium before bed, and a tepid or warm bath does wonders. Haley says, I'm in Pennsylvania. I want your book. It's called Healing from Depression, 12 Weeks to a Better Mood. Go to my website. You can order it there, or simply go to Amazon.com and put in Healing from Depression. Every week of this in this book, I have 12 weeks. Each has a different strategy or strategies for healing from depression, non-medication based, something you can do on your own. It can be very effective with psychotherapy and sometimes medication. Ayush says, hi, Douglas. Yeah, we've talked before. Nice to hear from you. So yeah, Healing from Depression is the name of the book, and check it out on Amazon. Lee says, I'm losing the battle alone. No friends, no support. It's awful. How much longer can I fight? I don't know. I'm really sorry to hear that. Send me the email at douglasbloch@gmail.com. I'll give you some links to organizations that might have support groups in your area. Sometimes people have animals help them out. Lee, do you have a pet? Do you have a dog or a cat? That can be very bonding for people. Also, go to meetup.com. Yeah, I know I can't do it alone, says Haley. Why I'm in a support group. My brother says he's to be positive, so he knows doesn't understand me. Yeah, you don't have a cat. I adopted a cat when I was in my 96, 97 depressive episode. It made a huge difference. I don't know if you can adopt a cat or a dog. I don't know if your apartment allows it or your house, but animals can be really, really helpful. I have a video called The Role of Pets in Healing from Depression. Yeah, anybody who tells you to be just snap out of it and be positive, Haley, yeah, doesn't understand. Absolutely. So at any rate, I think that, even animals can provide support for people, but without support, it is, I won't say impossible. I'll say it's near impossible to fight this battle alone. Depression is too insidious and difficult a disease to overcome on your own. Well, we're up to the 45-minute break. I usually do this for an hour, but I want to sign off now. Artie, have you heard of other dealing with constant, long-lasting physical symptoms with no anxiety present? Yeah, a lot of people have physical symptoms with no anxiety present. My brother's in chronic pain. Sally says, I've got a lot of support in social media. That's a good idea. There are depression chat groups. Type in depression chat groups, and that could be really good. What are my chances of making loans? Slim to none. I'd say slim. I never say none. But what about lead depression chat groups? again, send me an email, douglasblog@gmail.com, and I will send you some links to areas where you might be able to get some support. I know you can get it if you work hard enough for it, but doing this alone makes it so much more difficult. And Lee says, thanks. I cut off ties with my friends. Says the issue, it didn't feel right at the time, but now I feel guilty. Well, why don't you reach out to your friends again? How often do you do these live chats, says Mr. Lois? I do them once on Wednesday at 11 and once on Saturday at 11, twice a week. I have a fun bike ride. I've been so inactive. I want to join a gym, but I will be able to do much more water therapy maybe. Yeah, go do a, Haley, go do some water aerobics. You're 34, you're in the worst shape of your life. Well, you can get back into shape. You're young enough to basically have that happen. Thank you for your videos. They've helped me a lot, says Salem. Mr. B says PST correct. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm in college now as a mature student too, and it's a nightmare. I know people can see I'm off some days. Well, yeah, of course, but stay in college, go to classes, try to reach out. There are people who understand. Barely even hold a conversation anymore. Well, try, yeah, we're on Pacific Daylight Time, Mr. B, but we're in Pacific Time. Lee, try to go ahead and find a therapist, find a good doctor, try some meds in low doses. How effective are self-help books versus seeing a therapist, says Mr. Blue Eyes? They're both good. It's not either or, it's both and. I've read self-help books that have really been useful, but there's no substitute for a live human being who knows you and can see you and see things in you that you can't see in yourself and give you encouragement. So I'd say therapist is one, but self-help books come in second, like my book, Healing from Depression, right? I have letters, ever since I wrote it in 1998, I've had letters, people telling me how much it has helped them. And some people say it's even life-saving, especially the first part where I have my memoir, where I talk about how I overcame a life-threatening illness when most people had given up hope on me. By the way, a support group healed me from that. I went to a group, my local church. There were 12 people. I gave them my vision statement of wellness every day at 9 a.m. in the morning. They thought about it. They read it over, thought about me as whole and well. And within 90 days, I was free of symptoms just from 12 people focusing on my healing. Thoughts are positive. Love is positive. And so, yeah, that's how I got better in one of my previous depressive episodes. So I guess I'll see you guys again Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time here on the West Coast in Portland, Oregon. Thanks for tuning in. I'm posting a video on Monday called Living in the Gray Zone. It's about dysthymia or low-grade chronic depression. You can check that out. I'll be also posting a video the next Monday called Will These Bouts of Depression Ever End? And the other one next one on October 16th called The Deadly Side Effect of Antidepressants, about something called akathisia. So all the best. And one last thing, Mr. Blue Eye says, have you heard of their cover letters? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Dorothy, thanks for the compliment. Mr. B, always a joy. All right, well, enjoy your weekend, you guys. I'll be here Wednesday at 11 Pacific time, and watch out for my video on Sunday and Monday. Yeah, I don't know what the cover letters are, Mr. Blue Eye. I haven't heard of them. Explain it on the comment section, or go ahead and the recovery letters. Of course, I have that book. I actually, Mr. Blue Eyes, that's an amazing book. I actually wrote what do you call it? An endorsement of that book. I know the guy who wrote it. He lives in Great Britain. Fantastic book. You know what? I promise you on Monday, I'm going to read one of those letters to you guys. That's a great idea. Thank you. Do you have that book yourself, Mr. Blue Eyes? I hope you do, because it's written by people who've recovered from depression back to people who are still in it. It's amazing. And if you look at the book, I have an endorsement. Oh, you haven't read it yet? Look for my endorsement on the back cover and or inside, and read that book. You will get great hope and support from that book. So until we see you again, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. Take care, everybody. There is hope. There is recovery. You will get better. Hang in there. Reach out for support, and you will find help. Thank you very much. Take care, Douglas. This is Haley. There's deadly side effects of antidepressants. Making me anxious. LOL. Tune into the video. It's not as bad as you think, but you can overcome those with low doses. I said that to kind of get people interested, but yeah, no, I don't want to scare you away from taking antidepressants, because sometimes they can help. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.